Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Zero Analyst. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can install MySQL in your Mac using simple command line. And also I'm going to show you how you can import any dataset into MySQL server without getting any error. Mostly when you try to import a dataset into MySQL server, you get error. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you deal with those errors and how you can use simple command line language to import any dataset into any tables without getting any error. By end of this video, you will learn the basic command line syntax to use MySQL in your terminal. So without further delay, let's start the video. So first we will launch a terminal. So I can use a simple command and search, and I can search for terminal, or you can launch from anywhere. You can launch from the launchpad. So let's first go ahead and kind of see if you have MySQL installed in your terminal. So for that, you can simply type, there is two way you can say which MySQL, and if you have MySQL installed, you will see the MySQL here if you have correctly path configured. If you don't see MySQL, second way you can say MySQL version. So you can see that MySQL is not installed in my machine, and even SQL Workbench is also not installed. You can see I only have Postgres and pgadmin for at the moment. I have uninstalled it intentionally. Now I'm going to show you how you can install it. So to install MySQL, I'm going to use a brew command. So if you do not have a brew command on your terminal, if you have not set up earlier, so you would just need to kind of go ahead and kind of use the brew command. So let me first see if I have a brew command. So you can say brew, I can say which brew. So brew is this special command line which is going to take care of like installing MySQL. This is especially only for Mac users. So if you say which brew, you can see my brew command is installed in this path. So that means I can use the simple brew command. If you do not have brew commands, very simple, you can simply go to your browser and just type brew.sh. Okay, as soon as you hit this brew.sh, like as soon as you go to their official home page, you would see the first command line. Just copy this command line and paste into your terminal. As soon as you paste your terminal, just hit enter. It is going to start automatically installing brew for you. So the next time you can simply use a brew command which I have shown you earlier. So I'm not going to do it again because I already have brew set up. If you have not set up, you just need to do it for once time, so that next time you can use simply brew command to install any applications. So brew is going to take care of finding the application from the server, install it, upgrade it. You can do a lot of things which really make user life really easy. So you can use this brew setup for the first time. You can also verify by saying brew version dash version. So you see, for me the brew version is 4.11, maybe 4.4.1. for you maybe it is going to be different. So brew is very useful command. You can say brew list. It's going to show you all the list of applications that you have downloaded using brew. So for me, you can see I have installed all these applications. You can download anything. You just need to say brew install Python, brew install SQL, whatever you want to do. Okay, so we will now go ahead and install MySQL. So for that, you just need to say brew and install MySQL. Now good thing is that the brew is going to take care of finding this right application for your machine based on your machine version from the server, and it's going to install it, download it, install it. So you don't have to download it, kind of undownload it, and then install it, then delete the file. So you don't have to do all those things. It is going to do automatically everything for you. So let's say brew install MySQL, and it's going to, you see now it is downloading, and it is super fast because it's a command line language. So it kind of works really fast. Within just a few seconds, it can download any applications, okay, depending on the size. So you see now it's pouring. So it's opening that file that it has downloaded and verifying all the credential. Now it is installing MySQL. You can see it is saying installing. So now MySQL is installed. So you can see we have a MySQL installed. Okay, now here are two important command lines. One is says that we have installed MySQL database without a root, a password. If you want to install with a password, then you can just run this command. Then it is going to give you a prompt to enter your password. You just need to enter the password. Then you using that password, you can log in the future. So you need to remember this password. I don't prefer password, so I have installed without a password. Okay, for without installing without password, you just need to say brew install MySQL. That's it. Okay. So this is done. And the second thing is that for the very first time, we would need to say brew services start MySQL to start the MySQL services. Otherwise, you will be getting error. Okay. Now let's first go ahead and also you install MySQL Workbench, because Workbench also we can use the Workbench as well, which is the GUI tool. So for that, you can simply say brew install. Now as the Workbench is applications, okay, not the programming language, so you need to write something called cask, CASK. and you can just say MySQL Workbench. Make sure the spelling is correct, otherwise you'll be getting error. So I'm saying brew install cache MySQL Workbench. So it is going to take care of installing MySQL Workbench. You can see I don't have MySQL Workbench at the moment. Okay, so it's going to install it, and you will see that it's installing now. Once it is installed, you will see that we will have that applications, okay, ready. So for that, you just need to say brew install cache MySQL Workbench. This is not mandatory, but if you want, you can just install it so you can visualize it. You can visually, see a lot of things in the MySQL Workbench app. So you can see now the app is installed successfully. If you go to this application, you can see MySQL Workbench is installed successfully. Okay, let's launch it. For the first time, you'll get a warning, so just open. Okay, so now you can see I already have this MySQL server ready. So for me, let me just go ahead and kind of clear everything from here, and let's kind of first start the MySQL server. I would first need to start the MySQL services. I can verify it if it is already started or not. So for that, you can go to this monitor and you can just type MySQL. Okay, and you will be able to see that MySQL has already started. If in case it doesn't start, then you just need to verify if this MySQL is started or not. So for that, you can just type brew services list. Okay, and here you see that MySQL is already started for me. If it doesn't start, then you just need to say brew and services start MySQL. Okay, this is only you have to do for the first time, and you see it is already started. So for me, I can just say restart, then again it's already started, so you can say restart to restart it. Okay, so this is fine. Now we can simply go ahead and use MySQL command line. Let's first see from this Workbench applications. So I can go to this Workbench applications again. Let me just relaunch it. Okay, let me first open this, and you can see it is asking continue anyway. Yes, we want to open. So you can see my Workbench is already launched, and I can simply go ahead and here write something called show databases. Okay, to see if in case I have any databases. Let's select the query, let's execute it. You see now at the moment I have this 4 databases, which by default dummy databases. You can see it here. Okay, so same way we can use the same thing in MySQL command line. Okay, so for that, first we will need to launch MySQL. So we will go ahead and say that MySQL, let's first see the MySQL version. So I will say MySQL version. Make sure the terminal is kind of talking with MySQL. So if you just write it, you will see that MySQL version is showing. If it is not showing, then you need to reinstall it, uninstall and reinstall again. That's fine. Let's go ahead and see that now, that where this MySQL is installed. For that, you can just type which MySQL, and you can see it is installed in this path. Okay, so everything is working since so far till now. Now here to connect our terminal with the MySQL for the first time, so that we can use the SQL script in this terminal. So you can simply go ahead and say that MySQL minus u. So u is the first parameters, that means username. So by default the username is a root, so you would say underscore u dash u, then you say root, that means the user. And if you have password, then you can say minus p, and then you just need to enter. It's going to give you a prompt to enter password. You need to enter the password, then you will be logged in. For us, we have not set up any password. I would just say enter. You can see I am already logged in inside MySQL. Okay, you can simply say to see all the help regarding it, you can simply say that \h. Okay, and you will see all the help regarding this MySQL that you can use in this terminal. So one important help that you need to know is that this quit, you simply need to use \q. Okay, so this is the one only I use most of the time. Rest of the things are not mandatory. So I would just go ahead and kind of now first show you all the databases that we have in MySQL. So I can say show databases. So simple SQL queries you will be using, MySQL syntax you will be using here. You can see I have all these databases. So what I have used, show databases. That's fine. Let's go ahead and create a database called demo. So I would say create database demo, and you can see it is created. I can just go back to the previous query, so I can use arrow. So you see show databases. Now I have a database called demo. So let's use this one, use database and demo to connect this script with this demo. Now we are inside the demo. We can see all the tables. I would say show tables. At the moment we have just created, so obviously there is no table. Okay, so this is fine. now we are going to create a tables and import and data sets. Okay, so if you go to MySQL Workbench, go to this, let me just go to this schemas, and if you see at the moment we have this only databases, and let me just right click and refresh it here. You can see now we have a database and demo which I have created in there, and if you see there is no table at the moment. Okay, so let's first go ahead and create a table. So first we will create a table, then we're going to import some sample data. Okay, so I would just go ahead and import this sample data that I have here. So one I have which is called payment. So this is one of the sample data I'm going to import, and then I have this customer purchasing behavior. So this is a large file. This is I'm going to import all this using command lines. Okay, because if you import using Workbench you get most of the time error, so that's the reason we would import using command line. So we're going to create 3 tables first of all. So let's go ahead and first create the tables. Okay, to create the tables you can use the Workbench or you can use a command terminal, so both works fine. So let's go ahead and use the terminal now to create the table. So let's go ahead and create the table. So first we would try to create a table for this payments, and for the payments we have all these 4 columns: payment ID, order ID, payment date, and the payment status. Okay, so let me just copy all these columns, and I can simply use a terminal or I can use Workbench to create this table. So I can use here called create a table. Table name I'm just going to call payments, and all this column I want. Okay, let me kind of make it little bigger. So the first column, let me just give their data types. So here I would say the payment ID is going to be int, comma, order ID is also going to be int, comma, and payment date is going to be date. So date, comma, payment status I will need to check in the Excels. So let me check the data types. So payment ID seems like integers, order ID seems like integers, and payment date is the date, and this payment status is varchar. So we would use a varchar. So I think varchar 50 is going to work fine, the limit. So I would just go ahead and here in the terminal I'm just going to use varchar. Okay, 25, or maybe you can use 50. Okay, so this is fine, and I can just close this and run this query. So there is a slightly syntax error, let's kind of verify it. So varchar, so I missed a parenthesis, let me just give the parenthesis and let me hit enter. Now you can see the table is created. So this is the simple table creating line. You can even use multi-line as well, so we will use in the later on. Let me just make it smaller, and the table is created successfully. We would just now go ahead and import it. Okay, now to import it there are some rules that you need to follow. Okay, one is you can simply go ahead and import it using MySQL Workbench. So let's first see here if we have that table or not. So right click and refresh all, and if you see now this table I have something called payments. Okay, so I can just go ahead and here is that say use demo, and I can say show tables from demo. So show tables from demo, and it's going to kind of show me all the tables. So first I need to run this to use this, and then I would need to run it. Alright, so you can see I have this a table here, and that is fine. And next what I want, let me make it little more bigger, maybe 160. Okay, so next I want to see the table. So I would say describe the table which is called payments. Okay, let's kind of run it. You can see I have all these 4 columns and their data type. So I have created the tables using terminal, but I can see I can access it here. So to import it, usually you can just right click and import it, just say table import, and you select the data which is from this simple data desktop, simple data payments, and you can just say import next. Okay, here you have some option: existing table, yes; truncate before, yes; we would say next. It works, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, so you get some error. So if you get any error, that's where you can use the terminal to import it. So let me first show you the data. So I would say from everything from this payments, let's go ahead and run it. You can see the data is imported. Okay, now that is fine. We would just go ahead and delete this data, and then we will try to import it from a terminal. Okay, so the main concept is to import from terminal, because you get a lot of time you get error while importing from this SQL Workbench applications if the application has multiple columns and multiple data sets. So here now we would see the table, select everything from payments. You can see I have the data ready. Let's first delete everything from this table. So I would say delete from payments. Okay, everything is deleted. Now I can just run it again. You see right now we do not have any data. Okay, even I can just show you here as well. You can see I don't have any data at the moment. Okay, so let's first try to import it from terminal. So to import it from terminal, we need to follow some steps by step approach, otherwise you will be getting errors. Okay, so let's first go to terminal and let's first see some of the settings. Okay, so you need to ensure that one setting is enabled in the terminal. Okay, so for that settings you just need to say show variables like local file. Okay, this is a SQL commands which you need to enter here, and it says show variables like local underscore files. Okay, if you just hit it, it should give you on. If it is showing it as a off, you will be getting definitely error while you import it. Okay, so first of all we need to make sure this is on. To turn it on, what you need to do is that you need to say that set global local file equals 1. Now this is the commands which I'm going to add in the video description, mentioning it step by step, because you need to follow this step by step approach. First you need to see if it is on, that is great, then you would directly move to the second step. If it is off, then you would need to set this global local file equals 1 to turn it on. You can see I have turned it on. Now to verify it, I can simply go back to show variables. Now you can see it is on. Okay, now the problem is that if I try to import it now, still I will be getting error. Okay, why? I will show you. So let's say we have already created the tables, we have everything ready. So let's say we want to import the data. Okay, so first let me copy the file path. So I would just say right click, copy the file path. Okay, now now let's see the import command line. So to import, this is the import command line. Let me just show you here, and if you see, this is the import command line which I'm going to add it in the comment box. So load data local file, and here you give the path, then you say into and you give your table name, and these are the mandatory some of the settings. Okay, so you can go through these settings which I'm going to add this syntax in the command line. So let me give the path. So the path I have given here, let me just remove this one quotes, extra quotes. So you can see I have given my path. So I have a folder in desktop called sample data, where I have this data which is called payment.csv, which I'm going to import into a table called payments. Okay, now these are some mandatory delimiters and other settings, so you just need to make sure they are the same as it is. Okay, let me just copy everything now, and let me just go here and let me just hit it. You see I'm getting some error. It says load local infile request rejected due to some restrictions on the access. Okay, now to deal with it, two settings which we need to turn on, then it is going to work. Okay, so first of all let's see the first setting. So first settings, you need to go to this settings, privacy, full disk access, and you need to add terminal and you need to allow it. Okay, let me show you. So let's go to settings, and let's go to privacy, security, and then here you just need to find full disk access. So that's going to be this one, full disk access. So here if you don't see terminal, you need to click on this plus icon, and we are going to give full disk access to our terminal. So you just need to enter your password. I've entered my password and just type for terminal. Okay, you can see terminal. So I would just double click on it, and I would just need to say quit and reopen, and it's going to ask just quitting terminal. So just cancel it. You can kind of do that as well, but that's fine. So you can see now terminal permission is given. So this is the one step, full disk access we have given to terminal, so that terminal will have full disk access. That's the first thing that worked for me. And the second, we would just need to use this command line. Okay, now we would just need to quit this MySQL. So I would just say quit, and I'm out of MySQL. Let me just clear everything out, and let me just close my terminal. Let me just launch my terminal again. Here this time we would need to launch MySQL again. So to launch MySQL again, we need to launch little differently this time. So, okay, so we need to use this syntax. Okay, I'm going to add this syntax as well. To import it, you would need to say MySQL directly. Instead of using u and a root, we would just now add one more parameters which is called local file. Okay, which is called this one, local infile, local dash infile. This is one more parameters we are adding now. Okay, so I don't have a password, so I'm just going to remove it. minus p. If you have password, you can say minus p, then you can give your password. Okay, let's hit enter. You can see MySQL is logged in. So let's see all the database. So databases, so all the databases are ready, which you can see demo and everything. So I am going to use this demo because I have the table in the demo. So I would say use demo. Now I'm connected with the demo. I see show tables to see all the tables in this demo. That's fine. Let me see descriptions of payments. Okay, so all the data types and everything. So you can see I have payment ID, order ID, payment date, and status. All the column name must be same, and all the table name is also must be same with the table that you're trying to import. Okay, now to import it, this time we're going to use that same command line, but we would make sure that you know that setting is turned on. So for that you can simply again run this one to verify it. Make sure that your this global setting is on. So you can see now my local infile is setting is on because I have turned it on earlier. Okay, so that is fine. Now we're going to use this line of commands to import it. So here you need to put your path, and you need to put your table in which you are trying to import the data. Okay, so let me just copy this command this time again and use it here. You can see that record edit deleted 0 and okay 28 row affected, that means 20 row record edit. So we can just verify it, select everything from payments, and you can see now all the records edit. So you would never get any errors. Just make sure that this date and data types is formatted properly. For that you can use the excels to ensure that this is in this shape, which is called year, month, and day. If you do not have the data in this shape, then you can just go to select this column, go to data, and select this column, go to general, go to more, and go to data, and make sure to change it to year, month, and this date. Okay, otherwise you'll be getting errors. So for me it is already in formatted, though you don't see it here, but if you open this file in a text editor or notepad, you would see that my file is already in the shape. So I'm just going to show you simple file, this payments. If I just show you in the text editor, maybe a notepad or text editor, so you would see that I have the date in the proper shape. So you need to make sure that your date is in this shape, year, month, and date, otherwise you'll be getting error. So this is fine. You have seen how to kind of import the data. We will create some more tables and we will see how to import data. So let's kind of verify it here if you have the data now. So let's run it. You can see yes, we have the data imported successfully. Okay, now one more thing, you need to ensure that all the columns data type must be in limit. Let's say you have defined it called payment status, and you have defined the data varchar as at 15 or 10 or 20, and you are importing some data where the data has kind of the text limit, which is kind of the text content, which is kind of 100 plus text content. So that's where you need to make sure this payment status, the data types of this columns limit must be like more than 100, right? Otherwise you will be getting definitely errors. Same way if you have something like int, so you need to make sure that you're importing int, otherwise you can change it to float. Okay, so the data types must be very correct, otherwise you'll be getting error. Let's first create the second table, that's going to be job table. Okay, so I have one more data set which is called jobs, AI job. So regarding something I'm just working on a project, so this is the data set. So all these columns and their kind of, you can see the data set here. Okay, so let me just double click on it to ensure that I have everything in the limit. Okay, so you can see all the columns. I have already created the syntax to create this table, so I'm just going to use that syntax to save time. So I would use MySQL Workbench this time to create the table, then I'm going to import it here. Let's see if this can import or not. Okay, so I would just say create table jobs and all this limit I have given here. Let me just kind of run it. You can see it has created successfully. Let's kind of verify it. Right click, refresh all. So we have job table, right click, and let's say we would try to import. So data import, browse, and let's say AI job. Okay, let's say next. Oops, I don't wanna create a new table, so existing table truncate, yes. Let's go next. So it kind of says finished. Okay, next. So job record 500 record is imported. Okay, that is great. So if in case it doesn't import, so you will be getting some error. So I will show you with one of the example. Okay, select everything from jobs right now. Okay, so we have the dataset imported perfectly fine. From the terminal I'm going to first see the records, then I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I would say select everything from jobs, and we have the data. So I would say drop, maybe not drop, delete from jobs. So it's going to delete everything. Okay, now you see there is no data, that means it has deleted everything. Let's try to import it using terminal right now. So I'm just going to launch a new terminal this time to show you everything from scratch again. So to launch everything in the terminal, so we would just need to use a simple syntax which is called MySQL. Usually you use minus u and you give your username which is called a root. Okay, so this time we would need to just add one more line here which is called dash dash, and here we would just need to say local dash in file. Okay, that's it, and just launch it using one more parameters local in file. And let's first go ahead and kind of show database. Okay, so we have all these databases, we can say use demo. Okay, make sure that the inline local file is enabled, which we have seen earlier. So for that we can say that show variables and like local in file. Okay, so this is the syntax into run. You see now it is showing as a on, that means for me the local file upload is option is on. Okay, so I would just need to use the same syntax to import the data. So let me just go ahead and kind of copy the syntax. I would just need to copy the path, so right click and let me just copy the path and replace the path here. Okay, so let's kind of put the path here and let's copy everything. Make sure this table name is jobs and that you're trying to import, the table name must be correct. Okay, let's go ahead and put it here and hit enter. You can see now it has imported 500 records. Okay, if I show you the first maybe few rows, I would say select everything from jobs limit 5. Okay, so you can see the data is imported successfully. So the step-by-step approach that you need to follow, you need to ensure that this local variables is showing as a on. If it is not on, you can just run this command which is called set local variables 1, and then you can just launch MySQL using one additional parameter which is called local in file. Once it is done, then you need to ensure that your Mac setting has given the permissions to this terminal, the full disk access permissions. Okay, once that is done, you can create the tables using MySQL Workbench, or you can using terminal. Make sure the data sets and everything is given properly. Then you just need to use this syntax to kind of import the data. So here you just need to give your path, and here you give your tables into table, and the rest everything remain same. That is how you kind of import the data sets into MySQL database server. Now let me show you one more examples where you will see that you will experience some issues while importing the data sets using MySQL Workbench, and we will try to kind of import it using command line where it will work successfully. Okay, so for that we would just open the data sets. So the data set name calls Walmart sales data sets. Now this is the error everyone face every time when you try to import using MySQL Workbench. Okay, so here you see the data sets, it has a few columns, and this is the data sets. You can see 58 records. Okay, so let's first create a table. So I have already written the syntax to create a table, so I'm just going to use MySQL Workbench to create this table. So let's go ahead and create the tables. Let's execute it, and you can see the table is created. Let's right click and refresh all. Let's see the table which is called Walmart. Okay, let's try to import it. So we'll say import into tables, and we will just browse the file desktop, and this is the file. Okay, so as soon as I click next, you will see that I will have some errors. So I would just go to next. You see this is the error that I was talking. So here you would see most of the time you would have some errors. So some formatting, it is giving some errors. Okay, so that is one of the reasons. So you would not able to use MySQL Workbench. So most of the time when you import the large data sets or more columns, you would be getting error something like this, which is called some UTF errors. Now let's go ahead and import the same using the command lines terminal. So let's see, I would just need to replace my path which I have done here, and the table name I have entered, so everything same. Let me just copy this. So let's launch terminal, and we will be using this command line to import it. So I'm just going to here launch it again, simply saying MySQL. I would just remove this password, everything remains same. So show databases, show databases, and we want to use demo, so I would say demo. Now we're going to simply use this command line to import it. So I would just say run it. You can see now it is imported successfully. We can just verify it, select everything from Walmart, and you can see 57 record is imported successfully. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. I hope you have learned something new today. If yes, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and stay consistent. Have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.